그 가게 마음껏 이용하고 응원해주세요. 동네 가게를 이용할수록 우리 경제가 살아나니까요. 세상 가장 쉬운 응원. 같이 가요. 작은 가게로. 부산 방송광고 발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Shall I start with a brr? Because, it is cold. At least it is in some parts of the country. Here in Busan, not as cold as in parts of Seoul or maybe Gangwon province. The cold front has definitely moved over the Korean peninsula, however, finally bringing down the temperatures after an unseasonably warm fall. So we're seeing morning lows of single digits, with the wind chill below zero in some parts of the country, like I just said. And this isn't going to fare well for your immune system, especially for young people and the elderly. We're also seeing high cases of infectious diseases among children and teenagers. So let's make sure we stick to the formula of hand washing, covering our coughs, right? And not with your hands, with our elbows, and practicing good personal hygiene. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, November 18th on BEFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and are ready to begin our Monday morning together. So, oh my goodness. The weather has done a full 180, has it not, between the weekend and this morning. It is cold, I have to say. Maybe some of you got that early alert on your phone saying that it's going to be a cold one this morning. So the daytime high in Busan on Saturday reached 24.4 degrees Celsius. That is the highest for November on record. 24 degrees, can you believe? But that turned yesterday to this morning with some parts in Gangwon seeing snow. And pretty much everywhere in the country seeing single-digit temperatures. And with the wind chill factor, some areas seeing below zero. So this means that we may see sniffles and coughs, especially for those in vulnerable health conditions. The Korea Children's Hospital Association said that 9 out of 10 admitted patients or 입원 환자 are from infectious diseases, 감염병. And this includes mycoplasma pneumonia, COVID-19, and pertussis, or in Korea we know it as this as 백일해. So the association warned that ever since we had the COVID-19 pandemic, they've been seeing this spread of various infectious diseases among children and teenagers, which is likely to continue for some time longer. So the most common illnesses that led to hospitalization was mycoplasma pneumonia. So in Korean, that is mycoplasma pedum, which shows similar initial symptoms as the common cold, but it's going to last for over a week with severe coughing, 기침이 심하고요, 고열, high fever. So those are the symptoms to look out for. So it starts as a common cold, or it's symptoms of the common cold, but it really picks up with those other symptoms. What do we have to do? We have to monitor those symptoms and make sure that we are healthy. But if you see those symptoms, you definitely have to go see a doctor. And you have to check on your loved ones to see if they have those symptoms as well. All right, let's turn our attention to our text topic today. Here we go. This relates to Cat's pick from last week. Are you ready? At what age did you start staying home alone, or maybe going out alone without like your parents or, some sort of adult supervision? If you don't remember, what age do you think kids can or should stay home, alone? or go out alone. 자, 나는 어릴 때 몇 살부터 집에 혼자 있었다. 나는 혼자 한 첫 심부름이나 혼자 한 일은 예를 들어서 엄마 아빠가 거기 구멍가게나 옛날에는 구멍가게라 했잖아요. 혹은 심부름 왜 그러세요? 옛날에는 그렇게 불렀잖아요. 아니면 거기 편의점 가서 심부름 시킨 거 있잖아요. 몇 살서부터 그런 거 했나요? 혹은 몇 살부터 집에 혼자 있었는지 기억나세요? 네, that's what we're looking for. And you can send in your responses to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. So go to that platform and search for BEFM, 부산영어방송, and you can subscribe, log in, and chat away with our other waivers. And also on your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050, that's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free on our Kakao Talk channel. Same thing, search for BEFM or Busan 영어방송. And the ways you can listen to our program, so many different ways on the radio, 90.5, 103.3 FM. That's if you're in the Busan area. But like I just said, we're streaming live on YouTube as we speak. So check us out. You can listen to us and watch us at the same time, live or at your leisure later on, anytime. And we are available on 2 different apps. We have our own app, the BEFM app, which you can download for free. We are also available on the Patbang app. Looking ahead to our morning together, we have Showbiz Buzz with Michael. That's coming up in hour number 1. And then in hour number 2, we have Business Perspectives with Bobby. And for our special interview today, we have an in-studio interview. And we're going to talk about the 9th Busan ODA Forum. What is this? What does ODA stand for? It stands for Official Development Assistance. And this forum is set for tomorrow at BEXCO. So we're going to explore the role of ESG. Because ESG is it's not even new anymore. It's kind of a mandatory thing in business and in just all types of kind of operating in governance and offices all across the board. So we're going to find about this in Busan as well. That's coming up in hour number 2. So stay tuned for that. Plus a lot more. I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:07. These are today's headlines. South Korea, U.S., and Japan to launch body for trilateral cooperation. The leaders of South Korea, the United States, and Japan announced the establishment of a secretariat for trilateral cooperation and condemned North Korea and Russia's decision to dangerously expand Moscow's war in Ukraine. Railway union launches work to rule strike and delays expected. Train operations are expected to be delayed starting this morning as the National Railroad Workers Union of the country's umbrella union group began a slowdown strike against KORAIL. South Korea's stock market and currency among worst performers this year. South Korea's stock market and currency were among the worst performers around the globe as investors are concerned over weakening growth momentum and structural problems. Biden allows Ukraine to strike inside Russia with U.S. missiles. U.S. President Joe Biden has given the green light for Ukraine to use long-range missiles supplied by the U.S. to strike Russia, allowing it to strike deeper targets. China's Xi pledges to work with Trump in last summit with Biden. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has pledged to work with incoming President Donald Trump in his final meeting with current U.S. leader Joe Biden in Peru. And these are today's headlines. it is time to say good morning to Haley. Good morning. How's your weekend?
Good morning indeed. It was good. What did I do?
Yes.
What did I do?
Oh, what did you do?
I went to the library.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I read. And I fell last week. I fell. I just tripped
You
over
fell
something.
down?
I fell. Yeah, I fell fell.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I am fine, but I obviously great. Just can't walk. But I kind of hurt my foot, like just minorly. So I was like, I guess I can't go running because I did fall whilst running on a trail. But I did go on a nice walk on a Saturday because I felt this is the final. You know, seriously, don't have that look of just this look of concern. Like, is she okay? I'm like, I mean, am I a 37-year-old woman who falls down? Yes. So am I okay? Not in that aspect, but physically fine. But yeah, I really did enjoy fall on Saturday. 그렇죠. Our PD님's 부끄러움이 더 크지. Thankfully, no one was on the trail and by the way, that was like an epic fall. Like when baseball players, they like slide to get that safe on a plate or whatever.
Yeah.
It was that. I like slid.
You slid?
I slid. But thankfully, no one was on the trail. So I just just sat there for a while.
It was like self-embarrassment.
Yeah, I was like stewing in my embarrassment. I'm like, come on.
Okay. Yeah. Now that we know about your embarrassment, now that you've shared it with the world, text topic time.
Yeah, which ironically, I think I was a more mature 7-year-old than I am as a whatever-year-old right now because my first solo outing I was in the first grade. Was it kindergarten or the first grade? Yeah, so it was like 7 or 8, completely different times. Also, Korea doesn't really have laws on that.
Yes, we looked it up.
Right. I lived in Jamsil back then in Seoul, and then I had to go to my grandma's house, which was like by Hansongdae, if you're familiar with the Seoul area. There was a subway ride and a transfer. And a village bus transfer.
And you went by yourself?
And I went by myself. And I did great, except I didn't know that you had to press the button to
get off?
Yeah, so I just kind of went to the 종점 and I was like, why didn't you like
let me off?
아저씨, 왜안 서세요? And he was like, 저 눌러야죠. And I was like, oh, good to know. Next time, cool. Yeah.
But you got there okay?
I got there okay. Thankfully, my grandma's house is fairly close to the end of the line, so I just walked. Yeah.
Oh my.
Much more like stable as a 7-year-old than now.
Wow.
Right?
7-year-old?
I know.
My mom didn't let me, I wasn't allowed out.
But then I think you were 7 in the States. I was 7 in Korea.
I wasn't allowed out by myself until I was like in 4th grade, I think.
Right. I think that's
때까지 혼자
much more
돌아다녔어요.
standard. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. We're going to jump into our first update. Let's begin with this Global Hub City special legislation. So it is considered this kind of big step for Busan in terms of national funding and administrative support. So we may see Parliament take action on the bill after all this time.
Well, hopefully, right? So the Busan Global Hub City special legislation basically seeks to turn Busan into, a global hub city, but akin to Hong Kong and Singapore. So the thing is, it's been sitting at the parliament without much progress, and there are concerns that it might just expire. And Mayor Park Hyung-jun earlier this month, he delivered this petition signed by 1.6 million Busan residents. And last week, though, the ruling People Power Party and the opposition Democratic Party, they had a meeting of their party policy chairs and vice floor leaders and discussed this matter and said that they plan to come up with an agreement and vote on the bill within the end of the year.
I see. So what had been kind of the challenges thus far and what lies ahead from the here on out?
Right. So the challenge is and was that the Busan Global Hub City Bill was not the only one of its kind when it comes to regional development.
Sure.
And the Democratic Party, they've been of the position that other similar bills involving Jeju and Jeonnam regions, they need to be dealt with as well.
Okay.
So the People Power Party is going to accept that position. So up next is public hearings, and that's needed under the National Assembly Act. And this is going to be determined at the Interior and Safety Parliamentary Small Committee that's scheduled for the 22nd of this month.
Sure.
Unfortunately, though, as for another matter that concerns us, the parties still haven't come to an agreement when it comes to the Korea Development Bank, or KDB, the Sanin relocation bill.
Still. Next, though, for now, we're going to go to the Gupo Bridge, where there are calls to strengthen and reinforce the bridge's safety.
Right. So there is a trigger warning. We are going to be talking about suicide, so please be aware.
Yes.
Because Kupo Bridge has unfortunately a reputation for having this high rate of suicide. In the past 3 years, the police have received 108 calls about people attempting to jump off the bridge. And so Bukgu District Office earlier in the year, they did enforce the fences, the railing on the bridge from 1.1 meter to 1.8 meters. And they also installed what's called like rotating handles as opposed to fixed handles, because if you are trying to jump off the bridge, but you need support from the railing, and if it's rotating, it's going to be that much harder for you to do that.
Right.
And you can see the visuals on our YouTube page. The picture on top is from the old railings.
Yes.
On the bottom, those are the reinforced railings, as you can see, much, much higher.
Right.
So the district, the thing is, they haven't installed these extra precautionary measures across the entire bridge, so that's only for parts of the bridge.
Yes.
And in fact, there was a call last Thursday, early morning, about someone who did jump off the bridge. The individual, thankfully, is fine. They were rescued, suffered only from minor hypothermia. But there are also 12 CCTV cameras, but apparently it doesn't cover every single portion of the bridge. It's a long bridge. So the district said that it will install additional surveillance cameras and also work with law enforcement to strengthen monitoring and patrol.
I see. Well, thank you for telling us about the reinforcement of that bridge. We're going to move on for now, though. A Greenpeace environment monitoring vessel has entered Busan.
Right. So this is called the Rainbow Warrior, and it's an environment monitoring ship from Greenpeace. It docked at Busan Port in time for the 5th upcoming meeting of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, the INC 5, for plastic pollution. So this is the vessel's first time in Busan in 8 years, and it's here to urge world leaders who will come here to come up with this binding agreement to reduce plastic pollution.
Yes.
So the Rainbow Warrior itself, because of course it preaches sustainability, so it itself needs to be sustainable. So it sails mostly on with the sail, so just with the wind. It has a hybrid engine, and all the fabric on the ship, they're made from eco-friendly material. Greenpeace also welcomes South Korea's move to be at the forefront on reducing plastics, and an official from this environmental organization said that South Korea, it has recently changed its position to focus on plastic production reduction rather than just producing the same amount and just trying to recycle.
I see.
It also called on the country to act as a major player for this binding agreement during the upcoming panel discussions.
Yes. Well, thanks for letting us know about this. And next up, let's talk about Busan City, our city, holding various programs for Suneung or CSAT test takers.
Right. So the city and various public institutions, they're working together to provide career-related and also necessary life skills classes. So for one, the Busan Economic Promotion Agency, it's holding career counseling and also, very important, finance and investment lessons. And I'm like, is this open for non-Suneung takers? Busan Metro holding career counseling on subway conductors. Dongdae and Yeongdo Career Education Support Centers will have special classes, mentoring, including AI-related classes. And the Cinema Center will give classes on how to watch films with an analytical eye and even film production classes.
Oh, yay. I like these ideas.
Right.
And I like the fact that it's not just about like discounts.
Right.
But real life lessons.
Building life skills.
Yes. For our final story, we have the Haeundae Polar Bear Festival. The sign-ups are here.
I mean, we're talking about bundling up, but some
Yes.
people really lean into the cold and take themselves to the extremes, and that may include jumping into the ocean this time of year. And it's just in time for the chilly weather. The 37th Haeundae Polar Bear Festival signups are here, and this is, yes, the event where you dive into the winter sea. It is really popular each year. The event itself is December 7th with a winter night concert. There's a 1 kilometer ocean swim and, of course, a plunge. The following day on the 8th, there will be other events on land, including an extreme challenge and the polar bear run. Sign-ups are open right now until this Friday.
All right. So maybe some of you waivers are going to participate. Go check that out. Thank you, Haley.
Thank you.
Now, to you, the waivers. At what age did you start staying at home alone, or maybe heading outside alone without supervision? Or maybe just generally speaking, at what age do you think it's appropriate for kids to stay at home alone or venture out alone? This is purely opinion, and I hope it's not like like too heavy of a discussion. So don't get all riled up. It's just purely opinion. Here's your traffic and weather. It is now time for your traffic and weather. It looks slow right now on the Dongsa overpass from Bumnikor ramp to the old Kaegum tollgate. Also backed up on Luno Samsung-dero from Myeongji underpass to Shino Bridge right now. As for the weather right now here in Busan, at least in Santam, it is chilly today at 6 degrees Celsius. The daytime high will go up to 13, and there is a cold front effect alert, 한파 영향 주의보 issued over Busan. Looking at the weather nationwide, the morning temperatures are in the low single digits across most of the country. In Chuncheon, seeing a minus 0.2 degrees Celsius reading right now. The daytime highs will reach anywhere between 6 degrees and 13 degrees Celsius across the nation. So make sure you're bundled up as you head out the door today. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It is now time for News Digest. We have Haley back with us, and we're going to dive into our first story. This is all about South America, where President Yoon Suk-yeol is there for the APEC summit, where he met with Chinese President Xi Jinping, right?
Right. So he's been having a lot of bilateral meetings and even a trilateral meeting, as you said. But we're going to focus on that meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. So they met in Lima, Peru on the sidelines of the APEC summit. This happened Friday local time. And they spoke about the situation surrounding the Korean Peninsula as well as the bilateral free trade agreement, FTA, between Seoul and Beijing. And this is their first meeting since 2022. Of course, the South Korea and China relations, that they had kind of frozen a bit. They were icy ever since Yoon Suk-yeol came into office, because the Yoon administration, their major focus has been more on the trilateral relations with Washington, D.C. and Tokyo. Yes. However, this summit, as well as some events prior to it, it does show signals of the two countries' relations thawing, warming up a bit.
Yes, so we're going to go into the specifics the two sides discuss, right?
Right. So in the opening remarks, President Yoon Suk-yeol asked President Xi Jinping to play a constructive role in North Korea's provocations, as it has been deepening its military cooperation with Russia. And Yoon described China as an important country for close cooperation in areas of security, economy, culture, and people-to-people exchanges. And the two also discussed the bilateral free trade agreement, the FTA, which marks its 10th year this year, actually. And the two leaders agreed to accelerate their negotiations to upgrade the deals to lower barriers in services and investments. And as for President Xi Jinping, he stated that China does not want escalating tensions over the Korean Peninsula and hoped for parties involved to pursue a peaceful resolution through dialogue. However, in their post-summit press release, China actually left out the part about Yoon mentioning North Korea and Russia's illegal military cooperation and included Beijing's one China policy.
Right. But I hear that there are also plans for further summits. Is that true?
Right. So during this summit in Peru, the two leaders exchanged invitations to one another to visit each other's countries to continue these discussions. And Xi Jinping's visit to Korea, if it does happen, it will be for the APEC summit in Gyeongju, scheduled for next fall.
Okay. Okay.
But then they also have challenges still ahead with uncertainties from, for example, the incoming Trump administration, because that'll almost certainly put pressure on Beijing, possibly ask South Korea to join in on this policy. So an official from the presidential office said that South Korea's position right now is that the South Korea-US and South Korea-China relations, they do not have to be about conflict and clashes, and it'll keep close communications with the two countries.
Yes. So that's what's going on there. And next, in domestic politics, this was big news at the end of the week. A Democratic Party chair, Lee Jae-myung, has been found guilty of violating election law, and his position as lawmaker has been suspended.
Right. So this was a surprise verdict for his supporters and also will have far-reaching complications. This is first of his 4 court cases. Lee Jae-myung has been found guilty of making false statements in violation of the Public Official Election Act and has been sentenced to a year in prison with a 2-year probation. And if the ruling is upheld by the Supreme Court, because he is appealing the case, this means that he would be stripped of his position as a lawmaker and also won't be able to run in any elections, including the presidential election, for the next 5 years.
Right. So this has far-reaching implications. So we need to go through the court's ruling. What does this mean?
Right. So the point of contention was that Lee had lied about not knowing this former executive of Seongnam Development Corporation, late Kim Moon-gi, who was implicated in that land development scandal.
Right.
And then he also lied that they had never gone golfing together, while there were photos showing that they did. Lee was also accused of lying during a parliamentary audit of Gyeonggi provincial government while he was the governor there about this land rezoning issue.
Yes.
So the court said both statements are lies, but that doesn't necessarily directly translate to a violation of election law. However, the part about not knowing Kim could not be legally be considered in violation of election law. But the key point in determining whether he was guilty or not guilty of breaking election law was general public perception, whether his comments would kind of cause confusion for the public or cause misunderstanding as he was running for public office.
Okay.
So the court said that freedom of speech during an election, it's an important right, must be recognized. However, distortion of public opinion through the collection of incorrect information as a result of, declaration of false statements must also be taken into account. That was the court's ruling. So once again, E is appealing the case.
Right. And we do want to reiterate that this is not the main Daejangdong case. This
It's
is
not.
just
It's about lying about it.
Yes. But this does once again have far-reaching political, complications.
Right, because it's going to be the top political issue for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
So the ruling People Power Party said that, they're basically using this as fodder for their political attack against the Democratic Party, honing in on the fact about Lee Jae-myung's judicial risk.
Yes.
The ruling party on Friday, it urged the opposition to, quote, humbly accept this verdict and apologize. And their hope, for pundits say, is that to turn this as kind of an opportunity to turn public opinion into their favor and carry that momentum to the National Assembly, where the Democratic Party does hold a majority.
Right.
The DP, for its part, they're maintaining the rhetoric that this is political oppression by the government and now the courts. But it does throw uncertainties into the party, and it may give more voices to those within the DP that call for alternatives apart from Lee Jae-myung. However, Lee supporters, they held a rally on Saturday, and Lee was actually on stage saying that, quote, Lee Jae-myung will never die, democracy will never die, and the future of the country will never die.
I see. Well, we will continue to follow all of the legal proceedings. But for now, we're going to leave that story there. And lastly, we've all heard people say that they want to emigrate to a different country when they're unhappy with what's going on in their home country. But a large number of people actually followed through with this.
They did. So whenever we see, whenever there are elections, because about half the country for any nation is unhappy, you do see spikes in searches of immigration to whatever country that may be neighboring said nation. But migrations to rich countries, developed nations, they actually marked a record high this year. And we're talking about legal migration, not just undocumented.
Yes.
So an OECD report showed that there were 6.5 million people who immigrated to one of the 38 OECD countries with green cards.
Okay.
6.5 million people, that's basically double the population of Busan. This is the highest rate ever, 10% higher than the record height of 6 million back in 2022. Broken down by country, the U.S. was the biggest recipient of immigrants with 1.18 million new immigrants last year. That's up by 13%.
Yes.
And then let's take a look at the country with the second place was the UK with 746,000 people. The UK actually saw the highest rate of increase in just a span of 1 year at 53 points higher. Interestingly, the country that had the second highest rate of increase, not sheer numbers, but rate, 성장률, here, South Korea.
Really?
Yeah, because in 2022, South Korea received 57,000 new immigrants. That jumped to 87,000 last year.
Okay, so that's a rate, not
That's
sheer
the
numbers.
rate, not sheer numbers, but the increase. A large part of this, seasonal migrant workers. So, which was also the case in the U.S. as well.
Sure.
But in South Korea, the rate of seasonal migrant workers, it basically jumped by 200%.
Wow.
And more than 2.4 million work permits and authorizations were granted across the OECD nations. Then what about asylum seekers, refugees? The number of new asylum seekers to OECD nations, that also broke a new record in 2023, 2.7 million new applicants across the OECD.
Okay.
However, this also had political implications because this acceptance of refugees and also undocumented immigration that led to social frustrations.
Sure.
And that translated into votes. This is why a lot of political parties or candidates that pledged to solve this issue or even just shut down the border, they tended to get voted into office.
Interesting. Looking
Yeah.
at all the migration numbers. So
Right.
thanks for going over all the news. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And with that, we are ready for our first song break for Monday morning. So here it is. This is a song request from Benny, Stay by Blackpink.
같은 말 때문에 내 맘에 상처를 내놓고 미안하단 말 한마디 없이도 날 혼자 위로하고 오늘 하루도 혹시나 떠날까 늘 불안해해 I just want you to stay 점점 무뎌져가는 너의 그 무표정 속에 점점 내려놓자면 거울에 속삭이곤 해 늘 당연하게 생각하는 너지만 그게 너다워 그래도 stay with me 널 닮은 듯한 슬픈 멜로디 이렇게 나를 울리는데 네 향기는 달콤한 felony 너무 밉지만 사랑해 어두운 밤이 날 가두기 전에 내 곁을 떠나지 마 아직 날 실은 난 더 바라는 게 없어 이제 심장은 뛰긴 하는 건지 무감각해 그래 사람들과의 억지스런 한마디보다 너와의 어색한 침묵이 차라리 좋아 So stay 그게 어디가 됐건 말야 가끔 어둠이 올 때면 I'll be a fire 거짓 같은 세상 속 유일한 truth is you This a letter from me to you 널 닮은 듯한 슬픈 멜로디 이렇게 날 울리는데 네 향기는 달콤한 felony 너는 밉지만 사랑해 어두운 밤이 날 가두기 전에 내 곁을 떠나지 마 아직 날 사랑하니 내 맘과 같다면 오늘은 떠나지 마 굳이 너여야만 하는 이유 묻지 마 그저 내 곁에 Stay with me It goes a little something like La 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 지금 당장 많은 걸 바라는 게 아니야 그저 내 곁에 Stay with me It goes a little something like La 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 지금 당장 많은 걸 바라는 게 아니야 그저 내 곁에 Stay with me
Welcome back, everybody. It is now 7:35 in the morning. It is Monday morning, and we're talking about wintertime health and common infections we are seeing in our country's hospitals. So last week, we reported on South Korea's first whooping cough death. This is called also pertussis or pegithae in Korean. So the Korea Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or KDCA, says that pertussis, this whooping cough, spreads through droplets. It shows similar symptoms as the common cold, but after 4 weeks of such symptoms, you will see coughing fits, 기침이 굉장히 심하고요. About 15 times or more of these coughing fits per day. And babies may turn blue or even vomit when they cough. 기침이 너무 심해서요. 파랗게 되고요. 구토할 수도 있대요. So there is a vaccine for whooping cough. A part of the DTaP or Tdap vaccines administered from infancy to 12 years of age. But it is advised for expectant mothers who have given birth, and even caregivers to get vaccinated if they haven't gotten their DTaP vaccines in their pre-teenage years. So if you haven't gotten the vaccine as, if you're an adult, you haven't gotten your vaccine, you might want to check with your with your medical provider, your doctor, and just in case, that vaccine, immunity may have waned. So please get checked out because you may inadvertently, be passing it on to your little ones. That being said, text topic time. Here we go. So I hope that you are ready. At what age did you start staying at home alone or going out alone? If you don't remember, what age do you think kids can stay home or go out alone? Is the question posed to you. 자, 나는 어릴 때 몇 살서부터 집에 혼자 있었다. 기억나는 혼자 한 첫 심부름이나 혼자 한 일은 기억이 안 나신다면 몇 살부터 집에 혼자 있었어요? or 혼자 있는 그 가능한 나이가 몇 살인 것 같아요? It might have changed though, because back in the day, maybe you think like, oh, I stayed home when I was this age. But now the thinking may have changed. Like maybe you're a parent now and you think, oh, back in the day, my parents left me alone. But now I think differently. Like I think it's inappropriate, or maybe it's completely changed. So 윤정 waiver says this. 돈만 기억나요. 이순신 장군 그려져 있던 500원 지폐를 손에 쥐고 가면서 펼쳐보고 했던 기억이 있어요. 아마도 5살쯤? So 윤정 waiver talks about the money in her hand. That it was the 500원? 500원 지폐. 지폐가, is that the coin? Is it coin or is it paper money? 이순신? I don't know. I didn't grow up here. I'm not. 피디님 아셔야 되는 거 아니에요? No, she says, I don't know. So maybe other waivers of that generation, was it a 500원? Was it a paper money, like a bill, or was it a coin of 이순신? Is the question, an additional question I'm throwing out there. So while we get that information in, I'm going to get to Kat's pick for today. For today's Cat's Pick, I don't know. I was forced into seeing this bout. I don't know. Do I call it a bout even? This event that happened over the weekend. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. You listen to the clip and then I guess we'll have a short discussion. This clip is from Good Morning America.
Now to the main event last night in Texas where 58-year-old former heavyweight champ Mike Tyson slugged it out in the ring with 27-year-old YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul. Perry, we didn't stay up late. We couldn't. Turns out that wasn't such a bad thing after all. The highlights speak for themselves.
I stayed up late, so don't worry about it. There was a lot of hype around this, a lot of talking, a documentary. But in the end, some fans were booing, saying they wanted more from this fight.
Overnight, Jake Paul defeating Mike Tyson in one of the most highly anticipated fights in recent memory. The fight going all 8 rounds, Paul winning by unanimous decision.
He's the GOAT. I look up to him. I'm inspired by him, and we wouldn't be here today without him.
It was Iron Mike's first sanctioned fight since 2005. When Paul, the YouTube personality turned boxer, was just 8 years old.
What is your assessment of Jake Paul, the boxer?
A very good fighter.
Paul is 27, Tyson is 58. Their 31-year age difference said to be the biggest age gap in professional boxing history. Tyson showing his age, not moving as fluid as he did decades ago, landing only 19% of his punches.
Father Time is unbeaten for a reason.
Originally scheduled as an exhibition, it became a sanctioned pro fight with modifications, shorter rounds and heavier gloves, lessening the power of the punches. Dramatics before the bout, from Tyson's slap during weigh-in to Paul's ear covering, mocking Tyson's infamous ear biting of Evander Holyfield.
So I got my diamond spiked ear covers right there.
Netflix apparently overwhelmed with viewers, causing streaming issues.
Over 120 million people on Netflix. We crashed the site.
Paul versus Tyson now available to watch globally on Netflix.
Do you feel like you proved the world wrong, that you could at least go 8 rounds with a younger man?
I didn't prove nothing to anybody, only to myself.
I don't know if you guys watched this. Like I said, I don't even want to call it a bout because it was an event. According to most pundits, they seem to think Jake Paul got 40 million. Mike Tyson reportedly got 20 million. At the end, Mike Tyson thought maybe he might go back into the ring. At the end, though, he announced on X, formerly Twitter, that may have been his last fight. Anyhow, some people wanted their money back. They wanted a refund for their tickets if they were at the fight itself in Texas. It was kind of a sad, I don't know, in my personal opinion, event. Did you guys watch it? This was Kat's Pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
And it's time for Showbiz Buzz. We have Michael here. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very good.
Tired?
Yes, I have to admit.
I know. The reason I know?
You know for sure.
I know. I saw Michael last night. I mean,
Kathy
okay.
saw me last night.
But,
yes.
but okay. Let's backtrack a little. We don't want people to misunderstand. I saw him at his show last night. I don't want people to think.
감사하게 뮤지컬을 보러 와주셨습니다.
너무 박수.
감사합니다. 감사합니다. Thank
the
you.
music was amazing.
Thank you. I had to write 20-something music, like songs.
I mean, the score was amazing.
Thank you.
I was like raving about it this morning, saying, the score was just the music was amazing.
I mean, it was a great experience for me.
Yes,
you know? And I mean, we should keep moving forward and try to put more shows for this. So, but anyways, that's why I'm tired.
Yes.
A little bit.
And you
I
should
have
be.
enough energy for Showbiz Buzz.
Yes.
Which is amazing, and I love it.
Yes. And so I was reminded once again, music genius that you are. We have you in the studio, so we're going to get into Showbiz Buzz. What do you have for us?
So for starters,
yes.
Jin of K-pop superband BTS
yes.
has topped iTunes charts in 70 countries with this latest release, Running Wild. Yeah. So the lead track of his new album, which was released Friday, claimed the #1 spot on iTunes' top songs charts across various nations, including Australia, Finland, and Brazil, as of 9 a.m. the following day.
Ooh.
So his first solo album, Happy, also landed atop the iTunes top album charts in 48 countries, including Japan, Mexico, and Ecuador. So that's basically all over the world. Yeah, and now, like, I don't think this comes as news to me anymore because whatever BTS does, it always tops something.
It's like striking gold.
Exactly, all the time. So maybe I become, with newer, I guess more.
Like, also at the same time, but we don't want to take away from that because like every time it's kind of amazing.
It is.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not denying that this is a great feat, but
true.
But they just keep writing new records every day, right?
That's true.
And it's amazing how they do it.
Yes, indeed. So big congrats to him, of course.
BTS
Jin.
And next up, TikTok. Hosted its first ever award ceremony in Korea.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was last Friday at Kyunghee University, 평화의 전당. So that's how do you call it? A hall of peace. So I would call it. And they celebrated the creators and content, shaping trends worldwide. The ceremony was previously held in countries like Britain, Malaysia, Indonesia.
Yes.
The event features some TikTok's most followed influencers, including Muxna, Jade, and Chun Onni. So they are all like very, very famous influencers on TikTok. So the ceremony was attended by 250 TikTok influencers.
Yes.
And it presented 17 awards, including Creator of the Year and Video of the Year awards, recognizing excellence across diverse categories. The evening that day started with the Rising Creator of the Year award, which went to Lulu Boy, whose TikTok content has sparked new trends.
Okay.
And the ceremony also highlighted creators making a positive impact on society. So influencers like Jin and Hattie received the Social Impact of the Year award for addressing global issues like climate change. So it's not just about entertainment, but they use social media to make this kind of very, invaluable social impact. And the ceremony also invited the rock band We Are the Night, who won the Trend of the Year award for its song Tiramisu Cake. And we all remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tiramisu Cake got first released in 2015. Can you believe that? So
really?
Now it's an old song. And it makes me feel even older because I know it.
I didn't realize it was that old of a song, but it kind of like got popular again.
Maybe. Maybe it's coming back and going again, coming back and forth. But yeah, anyway, it's, it was a first time taking place in Korea, and it was apparently amazing. Yes.
Yes, yes. And how many of these influencers did our waivers recognize? I'm wondering.
Yeah, because I don't recognize many of them. I do recognize some of them.
I'm curious.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently there are like a very huge like fandom when it comes to TikTok and like heavy users. You know, so I guess it's like having BTS fans. You know, but it's TikTok version. Something like that.
Leslie recognized a couple of them. Haley says 0. So I guess
it's their own world. Yeah,
Yes,
but
yes.
But apparently that world is pretty big.
Right. So if you subscribe to, TikTok, I guess you either know them or you don't. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
Yes, let's move on to our next item.
Yeah. I think this is a little bit more serious issue. Former Big Bang member, Top or TOP? Top, right?
Top.
Yeah. Top.
TOP is a
because it has the dot. I mean, like, no, I know it's top. Okay, I know it's top, but okay, I just making myself laugh.
It's okay.
It writes as T.O.P.
아, 괜찮아요. 저는 옛날에 처음에 한국 왔을 때요. God라고 불렀어요. 아니 왜 웃겨요? 모를 수도 있죠. H.O.D를 하트라고 불렀어요. 그럴 수도 있죠.
But G.O.D also had like dots in the middle, right?
그러니까요. How are you supposed to know?
D-dot.
I didn't know K-pop.
And I remember it stands for something. I forget.
G.O.D. God,
Great
yes.
of
I
some
don't
dance
know.
or something
I
like
don't
that.
know.
I remember. Anyways.
Yes. Yes.
That's so funny. So yeah, former Big Bang member Top.
G.O.D. 좀 없대요.
Oh.
Anyways, but it was capital,
bad.
like G.O.D. Wasn't it?
But it stood
I
for
don't know, it looks
something.
like
But
God.
anyways,
Yes.
that's not the point here. So Big Bang member Top will not be participating in the upcoming news conference for season 2 of Netflix's Squid Game.
Yes.
And I'm sure many of you waivers out there are familiar with the issue. Netflix recently revealed the schedule for the news conference that is slated for December 9th at the Dongdaemun Design Plaza in Central Seoul.
Okay.
The cast members that will attend are, Lee Jung-jae, obviously, Lee Byung-hun, Im Si-hwan, Kang Han-il, and so on, and as well as Top. The event will be the first public appearance of the cast of Squid Game Season 2.
Yes.
Though Top's role has been confirmed, he is the only cast member skipping the conference. And the issue involving Top is that his real name is Choi Seung-yeon, by the way, and he was sentenced to 10 months in prison with a 2-year probation and a 12,000 won in fine in July 2017 for smoking cannabis 4 times. So this has been a big issue back in 2017.
Yes.
But director Hwang Dong-hyuk, who basically created Squid Game Season 2, thought maybe since 7 years have passed,
Yes.
and it might be okay for Top to return. But apparently his, I guess, thoughts turned out to be not well accepted by the public.
I see. So he's not going to be participating in kind of all the press coverage
Exactly.
and like making the rounds.
And
yes.
the public events where he has to speak with the audience and everything. So that's, I think it's but Squid Game Season 2 is being released and Top will still be in the scenes. It's not he's not getting cut off from the scenes or anything.
Right,
but,
right.
They're trying to contain the public outcry.
Yes.
Yes.
I get it. All right. One last short story.
Okay. So this ongoing issue about New Jeans and their conflict with HYBE.
It's a saga at this point.
Yeah.
It's
It
like
never
so
ends.
long. Yes.
It gets getting bigger and bigger. So New Jeans gave its agency Adore an ultimatum recently, and they asked the agency to meet the demands that they gave within 14 days or prepare for a legal fight in court. And that's a big statement coming from New Jeans because they are risking their own activities as a K-pop girl group. So this demand basically goes to the origin of this whole issue, ordering Adore the return of Minijin as CEO of Adore. And Adore has made some compromises, but they have not yet brought Minijin back as CEO, and that's at the center of this issue.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens in this ongoing saga once again. But thank you for bringing us all the hot showbiz buzz, and we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And with that, it's a wrap for today for Showbiz Buzz. And for hour number 1, here is Tiramisu Cake by We Are the Night. We'll be back at 8.
소녀 백서 그런 그녀 있어 Ooh, you know 소리 없이 다가온 소문처럼 다가온 사람 Yeah 친구의 생일 밤 너를 알게 됐고 Fall in love 수줍었던 그 미소 두 눈에 가득했던 파도 넌 나를 보면 마치 넌 달콤한 그대의 입술과 눈동자 마치 넌 달콤한 점점 너를 꿈꾸네 감정들은 faster 장면들은 return Ooh, hello 가득 차는 이 얼굴 잠깐의 착각인 줄 알았네 Yeah 용기를 내봐도 반응 없는데도 calling out 자꾸 난 너를 향해 자꾸 넌 달아나는데도 날 떠올리고
Your Bridge to the World. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
새로운 다우니 건조기를 사용하면 섬유유연제 향기가 사라진다고요? 깜짝 놀라실 거예요. 다우니는 건조기를 사용한 후에도 향이 오래오래 그래서 입는 순간까지 다우니 7일간 피어나는 향수 다우니 부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃 축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제까지. 부산의 축제는 우리의 열정을 가득 담고 있습니다. 바쁜 일상은 잠시 뒤로 하고 특별한 시간을 선물 받는 바로 이곳 부산에서 우리의 삶은 축제가 됩니다. 축제로 하나 되는 부산, 여러분은 어떤 축제를 기다리시나요? 이 캠페인은 대선공익재단과 BFM 부산영어방송이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
We are
the firefighter duo.
Winter is so dry. Let's prevent fire by keeping these 3 rules. If you take caution, you can prevent a fire.
The number one cause of fire in winter are electric blankets. Take special caution with highly flammable materials such as memory foam, toppers, and bedding.
Number 2, having too many appliances on the power outlet is dangerous. Always unplug all the appliances that you're not currently using.
Number 3, check the heater is off before leaving the house. Leaving it on for an extended period of time can cause a fire.
Let's all take part in preventing fire and have warm and safe winter this year.
Tune in to BEFM 부산영어방송 for an emergency broadcast.
This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded.
What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock and this is News Highlights. South Korea, U.S., Japan to launch body for trilateral cooperation. The leaders of South Korea, the United States, and Japan announced the establishment of a secretariat for trilateral cooperation and condemned North Korea and Russia's decision to dangerously expand Moscow's war in Ukraine as they met on the margins of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC, in Peru. President Yoon Suk-yeol also met with U.S. President Joe Biden on Friday local time for their farewell summit, where they looked back on their partnership and reaffirmed efforts for enhancing the bilateral alliance. Yoon also met with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba the following day, as the two expressed strong concerns over military cooperation between North Korea and Russia and decided to continue shuttle diplomacy. Railway Union launches Work to Rule strike, delays expected. Train operations are expected to be delayed starting this morning as the National Railroad Workers Union of the country's umbrella union group began a slowdown strike against KORail. The union is launching the strike calling for bigger wages and in protest of the staff shortage and the government's layoff of some 1,500 employees. The union says that KORail has outsourced the replacement staff, putting the employees and passengers at risk. KORail says that the slowdown strike will mostly affect Seoul area subways, with partial delays with the regular and high-speed KTX trains. South Korea's stock market and currency among worst performers this year. South Korea's stock market and currency were among the worst performers around the globe as investors are concerned over weakening growth momentum and structural problems. According to data from local media, the benchmark Kospi has dropped by nearly 9% so far this year, the worst performance among the 40 countries surveyed. The South Korean won was the second worst performer among major currencies, with the Japanese yen being the worst performer. Market experts said South Korea's economic structural vulnerability combined with looming protectionism under the incoming Trump administration and weak domestic demand are concerns for investors. Biden allows Ukraine to strike inside Russia with U.S. missiles. U.S. President Joe Biden has given the green light for Ukraine to use long-range missiles supplied by the U.S. to strike Russia, allowing it to strike deeper targets. Earlier, Russia launched more than 200 missiles and drones at Ukraine's energy grid in its largest attack in months, killing at least 10 people, according to reports. This has forced Ukraine to announce nationwide electricity rationing and blackouts from Monday local time. China's Xi pledges to work with Trump in last summit with Biden. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has pledged to work with incoming President Donald Trump in his final meeting with current U.S. leader Joe Biden in Peru. The two leaders acknowledged ups and downs in relations over Biden's 4 years in office, but also highlighted progress in lowering tensions on issues such as trade and Taiwan. Analysts say U.S.-China relations could become more volatile when Trump returns to office in 2 months, driven by Trump's America First protectionism, such as raising tariffs on China's imports. And these are news highlights. It is now time for Waglwagged, and Haley's back in the studio with us. But before we get into the issues at hand, I want to talk about our text topic because I saw these two very interesting messages. I'm gonna read them together. So first, we have a message from Young. First, Young says this. 부산에 살 때 5살이었는데 그때 2살인 남동생과 교회 가신 어머니 아빠를 기다리며 장난치다가 유리병을 깨서 동생 손바닥에 유리 조각이 박힌 기억이 나네요. 근데 that's not the important part. 처음으로 심부름한 게 5살 때 식빵 사러 혼자서 시장에 간 기억이 나는데 식빵을 들고 빙빙 돌리면서 오다가 식빵이 터져서 시장 아주머니들이 웃으면서 땅에 떨어진 식빵을 주워주신 기억이 나네요. 그 식빵들 먹었는지는 기억이 안 나요. 영님이 so basically he was 5 and he was swinging, the sliced bread and, obviously when you're swinging the bread, what happened? It's going to burst. Falling to the ground, poof. And he doesn't remember, but he remembers the laughter. The ajumas were laughing at him. He doesn't remember if he ate the bread. Along those lines, Tommy says, when I was 8, my mom asked me to get some eggs. 20 eggs in a plastic bag. And I was, what's with the swinging? Swinging eggs? Really, Tommy? Swinging the eggs. And then the plastic bag broke. Did you not think, Engineer Tommy, that the plastic bag was going to break? And I saw the plastic bag fly really high. And then all the eggs were gone. After that, I saw my mom. She saw the broken eggs in my bag. I wonder what happened. 어떻게 됐을까요? 어떻게 됐을까요?
missing. I mean, maybe the engineer in him was trying to test out gravity.
Really?
Centrifugal force.
Really?
And then didn't think about, the strength of the plastic bag. People.
But I've seen my own son do that too. Why do you?
I've done it like once.
But not like.
But I don't go
constantly.
swinging. Yeah.
Is it a boy thing?
I don't know.
I don't want to
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
But I mean, just our very limited pool is like 3 boys
근데
so
왜
far.
이거를 계속 할까요?
Kat, the mom, is like,
I don't
why?
understand.
You
I
guys,
don't get it.
why?
I've never swung anything more than once. Like once I get.
Right.
But not like over and over. Come on now. All right.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's get into our Wager story. Celebrities wouldn't be celebrities without their fans, but there are some fans who cross the line into illegal territory. And one K-pop boy group member was attacked by one of his fans.
Right. So we're going to be talking about fans. It's a stretch. They do call them 사생 fan or stans, obsessive fans, stalkers. I mean, I don't know, you name it. They follow their celebrities into their personal lives, sometimes committing illegal acts. So we're talking about the group The Boys, and their agency IST Entertainment recently released a statement saying that a 사생 fan was hiding in the stairway of the floor of a member Seonwoo's home. How they even got into the building is unknown. But when Seonwoo went home, the fan approached him, and of course Seonwoo was afraid and told his staff. The staff and Seonwoo apprehended the fan and passed them to the police. But in the process, apparently the fan allegedly assaulted the staffer. And they've been booked for trespassing, which is 주거침입, and assault. In a separate case, though, still talking about the same group, the agency found a location tracker, 위치 추적기, on the vehicle of their group's car.
Oh my gosh.
And the tire on another vehicle had been slashed. Yeah, which is, I mean, that's terrifying.
Wow.
Thankfully, no one was hurt in this case, but the agency said that it'll have zero tolerance against fans visiting the company without permission, the artist's home, or any other private schedules, private events without authorization, and also attempting to contact the artist, which implies that this has all happened.
Right, and as disturbing as this isn't the first time these obsessive fans have committed what could be considered stalker-like behavior, and or waivers, or like, you know, sharing that same sentiment.
Right.
So this isn't like fan behavior.
I
This
know.
is
I don't even like the fact that we call
behavior.
them fans.
Right.
But other celebrities, and this has come to light again. So, for example, Kim 재중, formerly of 동방신기 TVXQ, he has said that during his 동방신기 days, a fan apparently came inside his home while he was sleeping. And this is disturbing. And he woke up to her kissing him on top of him. I mean, that's sexual assault, by the way.
That's
right. Right. And then it was reported that during last week's CSATs, during the 수능 exam, these obsessive fans gathered in front of a test site of an idol member, and before and after the test, with those giant cameras and shouting the person's name, and that prompted the agency to call the police because they're being so rowdy.
Right.
So once again, calling them fans may be underplaying their behavior, giving them an excuse. Oh, it's because they like the idols. But, you know, even if it may be out of affection from the beginning, an illegal action is an illegal act.
I'm like so like shocked by like the kissing and the slashing of tires and like tracking devices. That's like going way beyond.
Way crossing the line.
Yes. Okay, for now, we're going to go on to this story. We're going to go to U.S. politics, where two of President-elect Donald Trump's and I guess we'll say controversial cabinet picks.
Right. So he has been, President-elect Donald Trump has been naming a lot of names for his upcoming cabinet, quite a bit faster than 8 years ago.
Yes,
but two of the cabinet picks are facing sexual misconduct allegations. He's been firing off nominations, and these are two very high-profile positions.
Okay,
one is Defense Secretary, 국무부 장관, and the Attorney General in Korea. That would be basically the Minister of Justice, 법무부 장관.
Okay,
they're facing some serious allegations. So first, let's look at Matt Gaetz, who has been tapped as the Attorney General. He's a congressman from Florida. He has resigned because he faced a Department of Justice investigation. By the way, a department he would be the head of should he be confirmed as the Attorney General, over sex trafficking, 인신매매, and allegedly having sex with a 17-year-old who is a minor.
And what about the defense secretary nominee?
Right. This is Pete Hegseth. He is a former veteran. He was in a combat role, but also made a bigger name for himself as a host of Fox News.
Right.
This is an unconventional pick because most defense secretaries would have been, they were or they are generals or in very high-ranking leadership positions. And he has also previously spoken out against women serving in combat roles in the military.
Sure.
But apart from that, there have been revelations that California police apparently investigated sexual assault allegations against him back in 2017.
Right.
It is important to note that no charges were pressed back then. But the Trump team has apparently been caught off guard by this report. They knew about the Gates allegations going in. But with Hegseth, they didn't know about it. And the chief of staff had to call him and ask whether there'd be other surprises that they should know about. And this does speak to a lack of a vetting process that would normally happen for these high-profile nominations.
Okay.
Actually, for Pete Hegseth, even his tattoos have been flagged. He has many tattoos, which you can see on our YouTube page, but one in his arm, that's picture number 2, that reads Deus Vult, which means God's will, which, fine. But apparently this is what's been used by a lot of extremists. And while he was in the National Guard, his fellow service members sent an email to the unit's leadership saying that the tattoo was an indication of an insider threat. But Hegseth has also said for his part, he was unfairly identified as an extremist because he has a tattoo of a cross on his chest.
Okay. Some interesting picks there. All right, next up, I hear you have a couple of kind of odd animal-related stories.
Yeah. So there has been a smuggler caught coming out of Peru, which where the APEC summit is also coincidentally located, but not for what you would normally associate with smuggling. Because when we cover these smuggling stories, they're usually drugs and drugs and drugs and maybe sometimes weapons.
Yes.
But all right, it's if you're squeamish about invertebrate, hold on to your seats.
Okay, here we
320 venomous spiders. 독거미.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is according to Peru's Forestry and Wild Animal Protection Agency, SURFOR. They said they have apprehended a 28-year-old South Korean national.
Oh.
Yeah. So for allegedly trying to, smuggle out 320 tarantulas, 110 centipedes, that's 진해, and 9 bullet ants, 총알개미, and they're known for their extremely painful sting.
If you didn't tell me, I thought those were like fake eyelashes.
Ew. Why would you traumatize me for oh my gosh. Okay, all right. Ugh, now that I want to gag. So airport security, they noticed a suspicious bulge around his stomach area when he was. It's okay. All right.
At least it was the stomach.
This is a family
you
show.
You said bulge.
Yeah,
so
well, that's what they said. When he was walking through the metal detectors at airport security, they were like, all right, sir, come here. Turns out, according to the press release, he had, as you saw in the picture, he put the insects in a small plastic bags or the vials and then taped them inside a belted bag, which he had against his skin. And I'm like, dude, you're putting a lot of faith. He's carrying, once again, tarantulas, centipedes, and bullet ants. I'm like, you're having a lot of faith in these plastic bags. And they're not even like corks. It's not even like a cork airtight seal.
These are
that?
Like tissue?
I think those are tissues. Which I'm like, if you have that many spiders, what if they like push them out? And I mean, once again, it's a lot of faith. And yeah. The authorities said that some of the animals are endangered species or they're protected species. As to why would you want to tape these spiders onto your body? Apparently, they're very high in demand, especially around the holidays.
Why?
I don't know. Some people want them as gifts. That's
around Christmas?
Around Christmas, the end of the year. Apparently, this is the time. So
it's time to give?
It's time to give. Yeah. So that's what's happened.
People are weird. All right.
I mean, people have pet spiders, but you also presumably adopt them or buy them from legitimate sources.
But I'm going to judge. You're weird if that's what you want.
I don't know. My nephew got his first beetle, and my sister's like, "Can I release him or her or it.
Accidentally.
Yeah, but she asked me, can you look up if it would like kind of be an invasive species if I release it into our apartment complex? And I'm like, you look it up. You have the internet.
Okay. Next animal story.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to give you 2 words. Bears and a Rolls-Royce.
Rolls-Royce. The second one is not an animal. But okay.
It's not. But
right?
according to the California Department of Insurance,
yes,
they received a claim request in January of this year saying that a bear broke into this very, very expensive high-end car that was parked at Lake Arrowhead in the local mountains, causing interior damage to the vehicle. And as far as I know, this particular brand, they do all like customized interiors. So I
wouldn't know, but yes.
I wouldn't know either. But that's what the internet says.
Yes.
So the owner of the vehicle submitted a video of the insurance company with the bear inside the car, like tearing at the interior, which is very. We have the video up.
That's a bear?
At least they claim it's a bear.
I can see the car clearly is the RR.
Or so they thought. They're like tearing at the seats, which I'm like, oh, so expensive.
Right? It's not a...
Here's the thing. The insurance investigators... It's not a bear. It's a person.
In a bear suit?
Oh, yeah.
Are you serious?
And then, well, I mean... Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you, right? This wasn't their first, or the opposite way, shame on me. This wasn't their first time pulling the stunt.
This is insurance fraud?
This is insurance fraud. This is multiple insurance fraud.
Yes.
Detectives also said that they discovered 2 other insurance claims. So this is number 3 with the bear suit, submitted to 2 other insurance companies involving the same people, identical dates of loss and location, bear attacks with 2 different vehicles. I believe another one was a Mercedes. All of them showing videos of a bear damaging the cars. The amount defrauded, $141,000. That's like 1억 9천만 원. So, and then they did their homework, the insurance agencies, not the bear people. They consulted biologists with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife who saw the footage and said, yeah, that's clearly a human in a bear suit.
Really?
Yeah, and as you can see, they found the smoking bear costume, as you might call it, in the suspect's home. And I'm like, get a job. Get like a legal, actual pay taxes. And you obviously make enough money to drive a fancy car, but like, get a job.
We have a message. 인테리어가 마음에 안 들었나 봐요.
Was it remodeling?
Remodeling
Interesting.
their car.
Bear demolition?
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
It's a very glass half full way of looking at it. I like the way you're going at it. Yeah.
I like the Wager stories today. Very interesting. Thank you for the laughter.
Yes.
And, we got so many comments on the swinging of the story. So we'll have fun reading those in a little bit. But thank you, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right, listeners, now it's back to you for your updated traffic and weather. It is now time for your updated traffic report. It is looking slow right now on Yeonsuro from Suyong intersection to Mangmi intersection. Also backed up on Gayadero from Daegum intersection to Jure intersection. There's also congestion building on Suyonglo from KBS 3-way intersection to Daenam intersection. As for the weather, it's currently 6 degrees Celsius. It's going to go up to 13 degrees here in Busan. There is a cold front effect alert issued over Busan. Looking at the weather nationwide, the morning temperatures are in the low single digits across most of the country. And the daytime high will go up to between 6 and 13 degrees Celsius, depending on where you are. So that means it's going to be a cold one today. Bundle up. And this was your traffic and weather. And here's a song request by Taejin. This is 그거 아세요 by 이혁.
그거 아세요? 저 모는 종이 샀어요. 와서 발로 박수 치면 기분이 좋아져요. 오, 그거 아세요? 저 얼굴에 점 12개 있어요. 할머니가 아빠 보고 토토리묵 가져가래요. 집에 와서 양말 한쪽만 벗으면 누리죠 2가지 쾌락. 저는 귤을 먹을 때 꼭 마지막 2개 남겨두고 오른쪽 왼쪽 볼에 넣고 같이 씹는 습관 있죠. 문어 심장 3개 우리 집 콘센트 13개. 제가 제일 좋아하는 단어는 핑킹 가위입니다. 그거 아세요? 귤에 붙어있는 하얀 거 이름은 귤락입니다. 찰떡아이 쓰는 새알이었고 하와이안 피자는 캐나다에서 만들었죠. 제가 또 계란을 기가 막히게 삶습니다. 우리 아빠 안경 썼어요. 오늘 아침 쑥해고 병뚜껑 톱니에 수 21개 3개 규격으로 정해져 있죠. 오늘 딸기 4개 먹었어요. 원래 5개였는데 한 개는 딸기 씻어주신 어머니가 드셨죠. 초코송이는 머리가 삐딱해서 귀여워요. 갈비탕에 있는 당면은 싫어하지만 찜닭 당면은 좋아요. 그거 아세요? 저는 술 마시면 무릎 꿇고 샤워해요. 블루베리 속삭인 연두색 뭐라고는 표준어. 리모컨이 어디 간지 모르겠네요. 엄마가 빨래 널래요. 저는 어깨 높이 달라요. 저도 하나만 해볼게요. 눈앞에다 검지만 떼고 먼 곳 보면 소세지 생겨요. 저는 술 마시면 무릎 꿇고 샤워해요. 블루베리 속삭인 연두색 뭐라고는 표준어. 리모컨이 어디 간지 모르겠네요. 엄마가 빨래 널래요. 저는 어깨 높이 달라요.
Welcome back, everybody. So apparently, Taejin requested this song, and his son really likes this song. 제일 좋아하는 노래라고 하네요. So going back to our text topic, before we get into our special interview, I asked you, what age did you start like staying at home by yourself or going out? I'm still stuck on the you got not guys as in male, but you guys as in waivers, like swinging the bags and stuff. But I think it, just playfully, I was saying boys will be boys, but girls do it too. So don't think I was just pinpointing or like saying only boys do things like that. I wasn't trying to stereotype. So looking generally at your responses, it really does go the full gambit. I mean, it really depends on your family dynamics and probably also where you grew up. It really does vary. The age, for example, Leslie says, I was able to stay home alone and go to others' houses to babysit and go to the mall alone with friends starting at the age of 12. It was a much different time than today. And so Leslie and I probably, obviously both, from the States, I also wasn't allowed to, I was allowed to go outside to play in elementary school, but with other kids, like not by myself, like with other kids in the neighborhood. Like literally, I lived on a cul-de-sac. A cul-de-sac means that like the street ended where my house was. There was no other streets. There was no intersection. It was closed off. So I lived on a cul-de-sac, meaning it was really safe. And my parents knew every single neighbor. There were 5, houses at the cul-de-sac. And they knew every single neighbor and every single child that lived in each of the homes. So we were allowed outside. There was no internet or computers, so to speak. We were allowed to play until the sun went down. As soon as the sun went down, that's when we all went home into our respective homes. That's how it was back in the day. But it about like going out like into town, we weren't allowed to do that at all. Until probably like junior high school, like middle school, we were allowed to, and that was like with permission, knowing where we were. It was really different back then. So I know culturally too, it's really different as well. Anyhow, it's time to dive into our special interview. So I'll be back with our guest in just a moment. All right, waivers, the 9th ODA Forum is set for tomorrow at BEXCO. So what exactly is ODA? We're going to find out in just a little bit. And it's all about exploring the role of ESG and environmental sustainability in global and local ODA. So ODA stands for Official Development Assistance. So 개발 협력 initiatives. And so this year's forum aligns with the upcoming INC or Inc. 5 meeting in Busan and is offering a special session on comprehensive plastic pollution solutions and urban responsibilities. So with diverse discussions, and this event promises actionable insights. So this is open to both, to the public, both online and offline. The forum invites experts and businesses and citizens to really collaborate on the shaping of the future of ODA. Let's find out more. We have a guest who's in the studio with me, Ms. Yeon Kyung-sim. She's in here right now, so let's say hi to her. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, but I didn't actually give your title because I want you to tell our waivers who you are yourself. So who are you? Can you let our listeners know who you are?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having this chance. I'm Yeon Kyung-sim. I'm in charge of ODA and Training Department of Busan Global City Foundation. Maybe ODA sounds weird sometimes.
Yes. What exactly is it? Can you explain?
Yes. And sometimes we confuse the term like 개발 협력, Development Cooperation, or ODA. It is quite same. It is kind of action to support developing country or partner country who are exposed to the vulnerability of development. So it is a part of international cooperation. But when we use the term ODA, means that we use the official fund, like tax from the government. So my department is working on the development cooperation sponsored by the Busan Metropolitan City Office. The term is quite difficult or strange because that only the few number of actors participating in this area. So that's why one of our mission is to introduce what ODA or development cooperation to the citizens. Forum is as part of our actions as well.
Well, thank you for trying to explain it to our listeners. And so I hear that our city is very much vested in trying to get the word out to citizens of Busan. And of course, that's why we have you on our program right now to better present this idea to get the word out. So can you tell us about what's going to be happening at this 9th Busan ODA Forum? It's going to be at BEXCO. So overall, what's going to be happening?
The ODA Forum, it is a very specialized forum to talk about how cities or local level actors can engage in development cooperation, especially for this time, it's 9th forum. We are going to talk about environmental approaches or the actions to tackle the environmental issues with the local authorities and actors from the public and private sectors. So that is the place talking about this.
Yes. And so this time around, because it's the 9th time, which presentations or sessions should attendees pay particular attention to? Because I mentioned in the opening that this will be available to the public both online and offline, correct?
Right. And tomorrow, if you come over to the BEXCO, you can attend the forum, and it is online. And if your time and distance are not allowed, you can access to the forum by the YouTube channel of the Busan Global City Foundation. You are very right.
Yes.
And to be honest, all the parts of the forum are very valuable, I think. But just before this interview, I selected 3 parts, keynote speech and special session for commemorating INC 5. And last is the panel discussion. Keynote speech can help you to understand the whole picture, how cities or local authorities can engage development cooperation, especially for the environmental issue.
Okay.
And second is about the special session. Absolutely, we have the speaker from the UNEP, UN Environmental Program. He is going to touch a full life cycle approach on the plastic pollution aligned with INC 5. And the panel discussion, I believe that is very last part of the program, but it's very important because I much expect to get the implication from the experts, how we can organize the development cooperation projects based on our expertise from the Busan city government or actors in Busan.
I see. Well, I want to know more about the INC 5. What is this INC 5? Because for you, I'm sure you know what it is, but for us, we're like, what is this INC 5?
Yes. INC 5, it has a very long title.
Yes.
It's an Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee. It's the 5th session in Busan. This INC 5 is very important because it's going to finalize the text of legal binding instrument on plastic pollution. Well, simply we just think that the plastic pollutions, we just to reduce the consumption of products itself, but it touches the full life cycle of a plastic. I mean that birth of the plastic from the kind of extracting the source from the oil and other substances. It touches about the way to produce, a way of consumption, and also the disposal issue as well. It touches all about this. So all the things are being described into the instrument, international agreement. But the important thing is that it is a legal binding. So that's why the global society spend a long journey until the road takes a long time, road to Busan.
I see. Thanks for explaining this so we have a better idea, of what this means. And so you say that it's a legal binding instrument. So what happens after a forum like this? Because if it's legally binding, afterwards, does that mean that, that we follow through, that the entities, that we have to follow the rules and the regulations, or what happens after?
Basically, this forum is not a part of the official events of the INC 5, but it is kind of for the Busan citizens, it is kind of a preparation for understanding the INC 5.
I see.
Absolutely, INC 5 is the stage to finalize the text of the instrument. So as far as I know, that if the participating nation states and actors agreed on the instrument, it will be assigned at the diplomatic conference mid-2025. So it means that this meeting is very important to finalize the text. It means that it will reshape our lives in terms of the plastic pollutions, not only about the consumption, but also all parts.
So it's the lead up actually next year. When you think about it, it's coming up very quickly.
Right.
Yes.
So, and the one of the concern is that this should be the final round of the discussion, but the many countries and actors have very different views about the full life cycle of plastic. But I believe that the Busan can be a birthplace of the instrument. I do hope so.
I see. So what do you expect after this then? Will there be further discussions in the lead up to 2025, do you think?
Actually, this is very diplomatic affairs. I hardly touch this topic, but after this forum, our Busan ODA Forum, is not an official one of the INC5, but I believe that this forum can help us to prepare the next year. And after the forum, we are going to establish communication channel with international actors, including the UNEP, and maybe at the level of at the local level, we are going to organize ODA project for enhancing the capacities in terms of the tackling the plastic pollutions.
And these days we hear so much about ESG, right? ESG this, ESG that. So why does this forum emphasize public-private collaboration, especially with the participation of ESG-related business leaders from the Busan area? Why is this important?
Because the environment issue is especially plastic pollutions. I touched that it covered the full cycle. We need to pay attention to full cycle of birth, using, and disposal of plastic products. So for that, the private sector is very in charge of producing and consuming the products, and also they're engaged in the waste management.
Yes.
And it's not only about that they're prohibiting their actions, but also they can have innovative and technological solutions to wisely manage the plastic products. That is why it is very important to have the voices from the private sectors and let the public sectors make the good foundation for managing the plastic products effectively.
Yes. And we mentioned that this is the 9th Busan ODA Forum. So why does Busan continue to host this forum? Why is it important? And what do you think the key achievements have been thus far?
It started from the 2016. The very beginning is to commemorate Busan's hosting the high-level forum of OECD. It was also the very big event.
Yes.
It was held in 2011. After that, we could understand that most of discussions of the development cooperation was discussed in the capital regions like Seoul or Gyeonggi, but the other rest of part of the Korea hardly reached to that the discussions about the development cooperation. That is why we prepared this forum and leading the initiatives about how local authorities and actors engage development cooperation, and that it is kind of the place. Annual event can embrace many different participants. So, and we try to invite the outstanding speakers and the experts. So it is a very good chance for the Busan citizens to have their ideas and insights. And also this serves as like a platform for the people to meet each other. It is very good to meet like-minded people.
Sure.
You see that the ODA is very strange. So only the few number of people understood this term. So it might be a very wonderful chance to meet each other. We know each other. We know that the ODA, we work together, find the right partner to implement the project. So, and I can say that it is a very good place for the citizens. And lastly, I touched that about subject matter. I mean that this forum, I do not want to make this is one-off event. Instead, I want to make generating ideas, what we can do for by using the Busan's experts for supporting the partner countries.
Yes.
So we can explore the new subject about the development cooperation, or mostly can be done by the Busan, like a female media. So at the Busan EFM, it is a very important media for empowering people keen to speak in English or communicate in the different languages with international citizens. So this forum tried to explore the subject can be implemented by the local authority for the developing countries.
Indeed, indeed. Well, any final remarks, anything else that you want to leave our listeners with as we wrap up our discussion about ODA or the forum itself?
Yes. First, I should thank you for having me because I really want to share this the contents of this forum with waivers listeners.
Yes,
and because it is only people who once attend this forum, they applied and registered again and again. But I believe that this is very good chance for the ordinary citizens to pay attention to development cooperation. And it is. I told you that we still open the registration, on-site registration, and the attendees who have the international background, if you come over to the BEXCO, we prepare the Korean to English interpretation service.
Ooh.
So you can understand that even though we have the Korean speakers, but you can understand the contents. And don't forget, take the eco-friendly souvenir. When you
a little
register.
bonus.
Yes, a little bonus.
Yes.
The place is 321 at the Exhibition Hall 2 of BEXCO.
All right.
Yes, please come
right.
and join us.
Well, thank you so much for explaining this thoroughly to our listeners and for coming into the studio. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my great pleasure, Andy. I'm just on the same screen with Catherine. Whoa, I'm very happy with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. This was our special interview with Ms. Yeon Kyung-shim, Executive Manager of the Official Development Assistant Training Department of Global City Foundation. So this was our special interview. And we're going to take a short song break right around now. This is Take My Breath by The Weeknd.
I saw the fire in your eyes. I saw the fire when I look into your eyes. You tell me things you wanna try. I know temptation is the devil in disguise. You risk it all to feel alive. Yeah. You're offering yourself to me like sacrifice. You said you did this all the time. Tell me you love me. To the light. It's like a dream what she feels with me. She loves to be on the edge. Her fantasy is okay with me. Then suddenly, baby says, take my breath away and make it last forever, babe. Do it now or never, babe. Take my breath away. Nobody does it better, babe. Bring me closer. Want me to hold on to you tight. Yeah, pull me closer. Feel the heat between your thighs. You're way too young to end your life. Girl, I don't wanna be the one who pays the price. Ooh, it's like a dream what she feels with me. She loves to be on the edge. Her fantasy is okay with me. Then suddenly, baby says, take my breath away and make it last forever, babe. Do it now or never, babe. Take my breath
Put on my sweater. Oh no, do we look like 커플로 벗어야 되겠어요.
You leave it on. We coordinated this.
Okay, so coordinate with Bobby.
Yes.
Okay, it's time for business perspectives. Bobby's in the house.
Good morning, Catherine. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Got the memo here.
Yeah, apparently.
We're matching.
So,
Yes.
this is part two of what were we talking about last week?
2025 business trends.
Yes,
Part
yes,
deux.
yes. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to continue on from where we left off last week.
Sure.
Some of the biggest business trends in 2025. So some of our waivers that weren't here last week, experts are touting 2025 to be another transformative year for businesses. A strong focus on technology, right? Flexibility, sustainability.
That's right.
Just like the prior interview, right?
Right.
Now, in 2024, many of these trends were in their early stages.
Right.
Now, businesses began exploring them, implementing them, but in 2025, looking for a lot of these trends to really mature with widespread adoption and sophisticated applications. So, we're going to dive in, and I'm wondering, just curious, for waivers out there, which ones pique our interest?
Exactly.
So, the first one, we talked about it a little bit before, generative AI.
Yes. So last week we went over generative AI.
Yeah. And I think the big one is, it's just continually proliferating. And one big thing here is like consumers really expecting these businesses to capitalize on generative AI.
Sure.
And 70% of consumers say they believe most businesses will be using this technology to improve the overall customer experience.
Right.
So it's becoming more of an expectation. And just to highlight a couple of these generative AI applications that are in use.
Right.
Alaska Airlines. They develop a natural language search function, and it's providing travelers with a conversational experience that is similar to an interaction with a knowledgeable travel agent. Right. Streamline the booking process. We talked. Yes, streamline,
Yes.
make it more efficient. The other one is General Motors, and I like this one. They already have a product called OnStar, but they're going to augment that with new AI features, including a virtual assistant that is better able to recognize the speaker's intent.
Right.
Right? So that's really interesting. My wife would love that, I bet. Also, in terms of like overall sports, like Golden State Warriors are using AI to improve the experience, the fan experience.
Right. We talked about this.
Yeah. And what does that mean? Real-time data within a game, updates to increase overall engagement.
Yes.
So that's generative AI. And by the end of 2025, experts are predicting that generative AI will make up 30% of the overall AI market. So that piece alone. Okay. Now, another piece is the supply chain, just a broad category.
Right.
And what's going to happen there for 2025. So a few pieces. Here, we're talking about an autonomous supply chain that's really driven by AI. Okay. So it's going to provide real-time visibility for companies across the supply chain, which will enhance tracking and ensure quality control.
Sure.
And it's going to be more autonomous. There's going to be a lot more autonomous decision making in the overall supply chain that's going to help responsiveness and increase resilience.
Right.
Customer-centric supply chains. Well, it's really driven by this demand for personalized and rapid deliveries.
Sure.
We want things now.
빨리빨리.
빨리빨리. Yes.
That's the culture, right?
And it's only getting faster. So it's gonna these supply chains are going to integrate customer data more closely. We're going to use AI to predict demand patterns and tailor to customer preferences.
Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't want that, right? Some
Right.
people, they want to protect their data, but hey, if it can make things life easier,
If you're going to give me what I
want.
want quicker,
Heck
who's
yeah.
going to say no?
No, exactly.
Like, at first you're going to be like, how'd you get that information? But, ultimately you're going to be like, I kind of like that.
And it becomes an expectation
Yes.
now. Okay.
Yes.
Sustainability and ESG.
Which we just talked about ESG, right?
That's right. Compliance.
Environment, social, and governance. Yes.
So these standards really are intended to ensure that companies operate responsibly, sustainably, and reduce their negative impact on the environment. But for 2025, it's going to move away from just being compliant, but companies are going to make it more strategic.
Yes.
So they're going to really prioritize low carbon solutions, sustainable sourcing, and overall transparency, right, to align with regulatory requirements.
Yes.
Another big topic and trend for 2025, cybersecurity.
Important.
Yes. As businesses become more digital and the risk of cyber threats increases, this is more of a necessity and becoming more of a top priority for companies overall, right? These breaches are obviously devastating, in financial loss, also brand image damage. So cybersecurity is needed for businesses to stay healthy and resilient to these type of attacks.
Yes. What's our next trend?
Hyper-automation.
Ooh.
Yes, a big word. But this overall term of an intelligent enterprise, smart company,
yes,
it's been around for a while. But now that organizations have better tools, they have better skills, and they're also confident in using newer technologies, this intelligent enterprise is becoming more of a reality. And we're going to see more of that in 2025. So, Catherine, just think about this, like within an organization, and just think about information flow.
Okay.
So it's going to be a lot more seamless. Let's say it's going to go between the marketing and sales department, then on to research and development, then on to production and supply chain, right? But all of this is going to be connected by intelligent algorithms, right? Analyzing the information real time.
Sure.
They're going to predict demand, maybe identify challenges before they become problems, right? Or looking at to adapt to changes in the market conditions or even customer behavior. So all of this decision-making process, or what we call knowledge work, the amount of actual labor to complete some of these processes are going to be increasingly automated.
I like the part that stuck out to me the most, identify challenges before they become problems.
Yes.
That was my favorite part.
Yes. So that's good. So hyper-automation.
Okay.
All right. Another big trend, remote work and hybrid models.
Yes.
Now, we've talked a lot of news, but the power behind them.
Oh.
So this has been a big topic, right? Because headlines are all over the news in terms of how companies are trying to get the workforce back in to the office, right? But, the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them, right? So experts are looking at remote work is no longer a trend, but it's really here to stay.
Yes.
So companies are realizing more of the benefits of remote work, such as the reduced overhead costs, less office space.
Yes.
Right? And also, they have access to a global talent pool. It's just not localized.
That's true, though.
So, just try to embrace that. And companies are finding out that these flexible work arrangements can lead to higher employee satisfaction and productivity.
This really depends on the industry, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, for radio, can't call it in.
I was going to say, a studio in your home. What about that?
I don't know, 피디님, 우리 집에서 이거 해도 돼요?
Oh, no.
소파에
that was a quick response. That was a quick response.
With our own webcam, can we call it in?
No.
It's a no. Yes.
So that's a big trend.
Okay.
Last trend that I want to highlight is the customer experience is king.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So for next year, we're going to continue to see CX, customer experience, as a key differentiator for companies. So, if we think about the customer base or consumer base, they're more discerning, a lot more mature.
Yes.
And the expectations for business to meet them where they are has increased. So businesses are in the business, I guess, to create a frictionless, hyper-personalized, memorable experiences to eventually give them a competitive advantage.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes.
Things that we can look forward to in 2025 business trends. And we're going to get to phrase of the week. We're ready for it.
On the horizon.
Okay.
So it's an expression that means something that's coming in the near future. So obviously today we talked about some of the business trends that are going to come to fruition shortly.
Okay.
And I want to think about turning the attention to us for 2025 as it is on the horizon. It's going to be here sooner than we know it. So a question for all of us I would ask is, how should we prepare, or what should we prepare? So I encourage everyone out there, as we look at 2025, here's a question I ask myself. How do I think I would want to be positioned 1 year from now?
Okay, we're going to end it on that.
And then work backwards and kick off the new year pretty quickly.
All right. End it on that. Bye, everybody.
Have a great week.